Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on CBS 8. I'm Heather Myers. Here at CBS 8, we are working for you, getting to the bottom of problems you've asked about, and we're looking for solutions. We begin with a safety concern in the South Bay. Homeless people living near the 15 and South Crest dug a shelter into the hillside. A viewer reached out worried that this could cause the freeway to collapse. CBS 8's Steve Price is working for you tonight to take a closer look at the situation, and it didn't take long for him to get results.
A CBS 8 viewer who was stuck in traffic happened to look over here and noticed this, a homeless encampment. But what caught his eye is that they appear to be digging under the freeway. Multiple tents, a grill, and mounds of trash. This encampment near National Avenue in the 15 and South Crest has clearly been here for a while. But those familiar with the situation out here say this is relatively new. Using shovels and rakes, they've dug into the hill that runs under the 15. And take a look inside. A makeshift bedroom on one side with a mattress, blankets, and pillows. On the other side, another dugout area with blankets. And in the middle, a chair. For safety reasons, we didn't go all the way inside, but it appears to go back pretty far.
I don't know how they want to make a mansion out here.
This woman asked not to be identified, but she was bringing the group tarps and blankets. She says the hole has gotten much bigger in just the past few days, despite warnings that this situation is dangerous.
I think I'm not the only one that's concerned. There's a lot of people concerned because it's not safe. But I mean, they're hard-headed.
Working for you, CBS 8 reached out to Caltrans, which maintains that area. They said they've been monitoring the encampment, telling us in a statement the persons experiencing homelessness have burrowed into the slope, but not under the roadway. Recent inspections have shown that the impact to the slope is now at a stage where it is a danger to the people in and around it and has been flagged for immediate removal. Just hours after we visited the camp Wednesday morning and reported the situation, Caltrans was out there with a CHP officer advising the people living here to pack up and leave, which they did without incident. They told us Caltrans crews will bring in equipment to shore up the slope this week. The impact to the slope is not impacting the roadway. The roadway remains safe for travel. We'll continue to monitor this situation and have updates as new information becomes available. Working for you in South Crest, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Steve, thanks. In Carlsbad, we are taking a closer look at a major change to a section of Highway 101, also known as Carlsbad Boulevard. The City Council could soon move a portion of the roadway between Manzano Drive and Island Way inland. The goal is to protect it from rising sea levels and coastal erosion. Right now, a median separates the north and the southbound lanes. The new project would put the lanes next to each other, along with cycling and pedestrian pathways.
This attempt to narrow down lanes to one car and to mix walkers and bikers on the same roadway is problematic.
And this isn't just about infrastructure, it's about protecting our playground, our environment, and the way we access and experience the coast for generations to come.
The city is hoping to have a preliminary design plan for the project by 2028. Again in Carlsbad, the city there is taking steps to gain more control of Palomar Airport. CBS 8's Jasmine Ramirez is working for you and shares just what the city approved and what will happen next.
The county owns and operates Palomar Airport and will continue to do so. Now the city of Carlsbad is working to get more authority and approve plans to expand the airport.
Just this whole thing is really about local control. The airport is owned by the county, but it sits smack in the middle of Carlsbad, and Carlsbad has the legal right to have the final say.
Hope Nelson and Vicky Sayage are part of the group Citizens for a Friendly Airport. They say the airport was annexed by the city decades ago.
The city is taking the first steps to retain or regain its local control.
Last night, the Carlsbad City Council voted unanimously to begin the process of gaining local control of the airport and final word in expansion projects. Next, they'll draft amendments and local agencies will weigh in.
And it has to go through different agencies, the airport, the San Diego Airport Authority.
Working for you, I learned the county's airport master plan includes extending the runway to allow for larger aircraft. Under these new changes, the city would get the final word on the project.
This whole thing about local control will ultimately give the city of Carlsbad an opportunity to weigh in on whether that happens or not.
When it comes to noise complaints at the airport, especially in the late night hours, the FAA is in charge. The agency controls who flies in, flight paths, and what times flights happen.
It's voluntary at Palomar Airport. The community has to rely on the goodwill and the discipline of the pilots that choose to fly in and out of there, but ultimately that control relies with the FAA and the federal government.
Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Jasmine, thanks. CBS 8 is working for you and following the spending of millions of dollars for asylum seekers. This week, we heard from county officials who need to decide how to spend federal government money. Leaders say over the past 6 months, more than 100,000 asylum seekers have been released here in San Diego County. FEMA is sending more than $39 million to the county to help support migrants. Half of that money is going to local organizations, and leaders are now working on a plan to allocate the other half of the grant.
It's really a critical opportunity for the county to come alongside organizations like JFS and Catholic Charities, in addition to those advocates and organizations that are supporting for the folks that are being released to the streets of San Diego.
We expect to get an update on the county's plan in the coming days. Right now, an exodus of housing insurance companies continues here in California as 2 more companies announced that they, too, are leaving the Golden State. The latest to leave California is Tokyo Marine America Insurance Company and Trans-Pacific Insurance Company. That will affect about 12,000 households. This follows exits from larger companies like State Farm. So how is the local real estate market dealing with all of this? CBS 8 Shannon Handy is working for you on this story and has the answer.
If you're using a loan to buy a home, it's required to have insurance. But experts tell me with so many companies leaving California and a backlog to finding new insurance, deals have been delayed and in some cases canceled.
Every single morning when I wake up, I fear that there's going to be an email in my inbox that a certain insurance company is no longer going to be writing new business in California.
Kiyoma Yoshizumi is an insurance agent based in San Diego. He often works with homebuyers to find insurance, but says recently that process has hit a major snag.
We have never been in this position where it was difficult to find insurance policies for people.
Yoshizumi says while he has managed to find plans for his clients, they come at a higher cost, forcing some to rethink what home they're buying and where.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a client who was slated to purchase a home in Escondido. They got their offer accepted. The lender reached out to me and said, hey, is this going to be a difficult one to insure because it is in Escondido? And we were able to find a quote. But the problem was the client wasn't anticipating that high of an insurance premium.
That client pulled out of the deal. Another problem, while the California Fair Plan is an option for anyone who can't find insurance, with applications up 50% since March, there's a backlog, putting escrows at risk.
So it's taking some time for them to be able to issue policies for all of California. And a lot of the fire zones have changed and increased here, especially in San Diego. So not only is it time that's taking up from your transaction, but also cost.
Garrett Tyler is a lender with the Gaylor Hansen team. He told me while deals have come down to the wire, he personally hasn't seen any fall apart. Still, I asked him what advice he give to ensure that doesn't happen.
The agents should be working with their buyers immediately on getting this started from the beginning so that the lender isn't waiting for this piece clear with the underwriting.
According to the California Association of Realtors, in 2023, 7% of deals statewide did fall apart due to an insurance issue. Here are some other tips homebuyers should keep in mind. Hire an insurance agent who can shop for you and walk you through the process. If you go with a fair plan, consider companion policies because a fair plan only covers so much. Budget for home insurance and research the neighborhoods you're looking to buy in because if they're in a fire zone, you will be paying more. Working for you, I'm Shannon Handy for CBS 8.
Shannon, thank you. Next, we head to City Heights, where viewers have reached out to us about a homeless encampment that's 30 feet from a playground. We're working for you to see who's responsible for cleaning the park and when we might see a solution. Then later on, a new fast way to roll into Vegas. We're looking into the new high-speed rail that just broke ground. And we asked the Transportation Secretary if he thinks this could get people out of their cars. And don't forget, we want to look into issues affecting you and your community. Email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. We'll be right back.
we're unable to use it. You got kids out here that can't use it because of what you see out here.
Homeless encampments 30 feet from a playground. Neighbors say they have had enough. CBS 8's Brian White is working for you in City Heights to find out who's responsible for cleaning up this park.
With homeless camps here and trash and drug dealings, we can't enjoy this park.
Neighbors here in City Heights and the Castle community fed up with the encampments around their neighborhood park.
This is very frustrating. It's showing a total neglect.
This encampment you see here is very close to the children's playground here at the Central Avenue Mini Park.
This encampment has been here for in excess of a year. Right now it is kind of expanded, and it has also resulted in the fence being cut.
This park connects to a pedestrian bridge that goes over the I-15 freeway. I took a look and found more encampments there too.
Oh, this is terrible. I can't even walk across the bridge to go to the senior center because I feel unsafe.
They've reported the situation to their District 9 councilperson, Shanilo Rivera, as well as the mayor's office, and they've put it on Get It Done.
We're just tired. We're really, really tired of this going on and not getting the response that we need.
This park has been in the news before. I checked. Last year, a 66-year-old woman was stabbed to death while she was exercising here, though there's no evidence that the attacker was unhoused or that he was linked to any of these encampments.
Our green spaces in City Heights are very limited and very sacred, and this just compromises the spaces for our youth and our families.
If you take a look here, the encampments on the other side of this fence are technically on Caltrans property running alongside the freeway, which would make it their responsibility to clean up. So I reached out to them. Caltrans told me they've done removals out here before. They're going to get out here again next week to deal with this situation.
I hope that this is resolved immediately. And we also have a maintenance program alongside of it that curtails this type of problem from becoming an ongoing problem.
We're going to stay on top of this story. Working for you in City Heights, Brian White, CBS 8.
Next, after years of waiting, work is finally underway on a high-speed rail from Vegas to Southern California. We'll tell you who's paying for it. It is full speed ahead for construction of the much-awaited and first-ever bullet train from Southern California to Vegas. It will also be the first bullet train in the nation. But who's paying for it? And will people be willing to give up their cars for a trip to Sin City? Rick Montanez is working for you and took his questions to the Secretary of Transportation.
The Brightline West, an all-new, all-electric train spanning 218 miles between Southern California and Las Vegas. It is expected to take half the typical travel time drivers deal with right now.
With this project, we have proven that public-private partnerships actually work.
While the 200-mile-per-hour train is a dream come true for developers, some drivers in the Inland Empire say they're not ready to park their cars.
I don't think I would care because I love to drive, so I don't think I would ever use it.
Plenty of drivers are excited about this new travel option, but I asked U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg to respond to the drivers who say they don't want to park their cars in favor of high-speed rail. What do you say to those drivers who, are weary of the train?
Well, look, if you're in your car, you're still going to be better off because of this train because there's going to be less congestion on the 15.
The hope is Brightline West will ultimately get about 3 million cars off the 15 corridor, cutting down traffic and pollution. The project is expected to cost $12 billion. The federal government has promised to cover about $5 billion of that from various sources.
But part of why this project won those funds is that they have demonstrated their readiness, their experience, and their vision.
Building the new rail system is expected to create about 10,000 mostly union construction jobs and about 1,000 permanent jobs to operate Brightline West. It will have stops in Apple Valley, Hesperia, and end in Rancho Cucamonga, where passengers can connect to the Metrolink and finish the 2-hour, 40-minute ride into downtown LA.
I would definitely take it down just for the experience.
The first station will be built here in Las Vegas at the groundbreaking site near the 215 interchange. A bold new transportation option talked about for decades, now finally getting underway.
So as far as the pricing goes, Brightline West says it will be much like airline tickets. The company hopes to be saying all aboard by the summer of 2028 when the Olympics come to Los Angeles. Time now for Working for Your Wallet. San Diego Mayor Tom Gloria presented his proposed budget to the city council this week, and it got mixed reactions. The budget calls for about $5.6 billion in spending. It includes increases for funding for homeless services, stormwater infrastructure, and road repairs. But the budget is getting criticism for some of its cuts, including to libraries, the Office of Immigrant Affairs, and suspending contributions to the city's reserves for a year. The city is expecting a $136 million budget shortfall, and the city's budget analyst says the cuts are needed.
I'd note that the city is currently considering putting a sales tax increase and a stormwater parcel tax measure on the November ballot. Revenue from one or both of these will be necessary to maintain current service levels.
I'll be calling the first.
The city council will have several public meetings to discuss the budget and will present a revised version May 15th. A new report says the economy is showing signs of weakness. The Commerce Department says GDP only grew 1.6% in the first quarter. The U.S. saw a surge of imports in the first 3 months of 2024, and that took a bite out of the nation's gross domestic product. But even though the GDP number came in lower than expected, economists believe the core of the economy remains strong.
We are still seeing consumers spend. They're just not spending at the same clip that they were in the fourth quarter or all of last year.
It's all about the pattern.
Meantime, consumer experts also say the job market's healthy. They say wages are up and Americans continue to shop. The Federal Trade Commission is banning non-compete agreements. These agreements prevent employees from jumping to competing companies for a set period of time. The agency says these agreements apply to about 30 million workers. The new rule bans new non-competes for all workers and actually voids existing non-compete contracts. It will take effect in about 4 months. The FTC says non-competes negatively impact workers because switching jobs often leads to a larger pay increase. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, though, says it will sue to block this, quote, unnecessary and unlawful rule. And finally, SeaWorld is offering free tickets to military veterans for Military Appreciation Month. Veterans can register now through May 12th to get free one-day admission tickets for them and 3 guests at wavesofhonor.com. SeaWorld San Diego guests have until May 27th to visit the park with those free tickets. Active duty military and guests get one-day complimentary admission all year long. Well, that is going to do it for us. Remember, if there is something that you would like us to look into, you can always email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. Thanks for joining us here on CBS 8. We'll see you next time.